Like there's a relationship between speed and security and safety.
Right.
The faster you go, almost always, the lower your safety.
And so what we have here is essentially a call out. It's a call out. Mm-hmm. There's no innocence in there. There's nobody we're trying to save. And the way to handle a call out safely, if they're not responding to you, is you gradually ratchet things up and you make the environment in there one that they cannot endure and that they have to come out. And it's a gradual thing. And when you get compliance, you back it off. So, for example, we get here, we do call outs for an hour and a half. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. Okay, we're not getting anything. We're going to break a window from distance, with a less lethal, then we're going to send in a drone and we're going to look around in there and see if we can find him. Okay, now we found you and you're looking at the drone, now you want to talk to us. We're going to deploy a throw phone in there. Or just, something. We're going to eventually maybe breach a door. We have lots of ways to breach doors without sending somebody up there with a ram. We have an armored vehicle that's got like a push bar kind of thing on it, a boom that could push in that door. But if it's not possible because of the yard or obstructions or whatever, we can explosively breach it. We can just go up there and put the charge on it. We've got lots of different ways that we can get that open. So, but we would, breach that, and then we would, once again, give more commands. Oh, guy's not coming out. Okay, now we're going to throw in some gas. And we're going to use tear gas, and we're going to throw it in certain rooms to kind of like move him to a place we want him to be, give more commands. Wow. Oh, he's still not coming out. Okay, more gas. Let's say it goes to an extreme. This person's just not coming out. Maybe they got a gas. I don't know. Maybe they just resist the gas somehow, or they have some sort of countermeasures, which I'm not going to discuss, but whatever. We bring in a rook. We start tearing off walls. That way we have several people on cover positions that with long guns that are seeing into that thing as we tear off the wall with the rook. Now we can see you, fucking idiot. No, really, come out. You know what I mean? We're just going to do that from a position of safety, from a position that we control. We're just not going in there. There's no reason to go in there ever until that person has surrendered or, we get in a gunfight with them and put them down. If we're going to get in that gunfight, we're going to do it from a position of strength. From an armored vehicle, from a turret, right? From a sniper engaging him from 80 yards while everybody else is on cover. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna set that engagement up so we have a very high probability of success, like in the 99 percentile. We're not gonna do this. I'm gonna do a dynamic entry on a prepared defender where my chances of success are at best 50-50 and honestly probably lower.
Yeah.
So it's just dumb decision.
Especially in a law enforcement context, going into a structure that you know for a fact that there's a guy in there, unless there are, of course, innocent third parties where you need to go in there and save them.
Right.
There's virtually no instance where you should go into that structure.
No. And that's it. That's it right there.
There's no reason to. But again, you have the building surrounded. He's not going anywhere other than to you, which is what you want anyways. Why go to him? Why enter his domain where he's the defender when you can force him to come to you as you are the defender?
It's inexperience. And I've seen, not calling people out or teams out by name, I've seen lots of SWAT people I respected who had been on teams for a very long time and been through quite a bit of stuff, in my opinion. And I've seen them make really freaking stupid decisions out of nowhere. And you're like, what? Why do you think that's a good idea? You almost have to stop and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you okay? Because no, we're not doing that. That's fucking retarded. And a lot of times it comes down with, oh, I got this new piece of equipment and I'm going to use it. I
got this new little tactic that I learned.
Yeah,
I really want to use it.
We had one years ago with a guy with a taser shotgun who was obsessed with this new taser shotgun, and he was going to use it on this suicidal guy.
A taser shotgun? I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, well, this was some years ago, and so this taser shotgun, essentially what it was really weird, but it would hit you with the barbs, and then the main body would separate from the barbs and swing down and touch you in the leg, because tasers need 2 points of contact. And I don't know if you're that familiar with tasers. And basically cause a muscular dysfunction for everything between those 2 points. So you need 2 points. Right.
Yeah.
And the taser, it went away. People don't use taser shotguns anymore. But they had this gimmick for a while Taser was trying to push. And since then, they've gone to multiple probes. They seem that approach works. And it is extremely effective. But the taser shotgun didn't work. Didn't work in this instance either. But
Did
this
it have
guy,
a lot longer range than a standard taser?
Yes.
I assumed that would. When you said that, I was like, maybe it's for range.
Yeah, and you could do follow-on shots quickly. I mean, there was an argument, but it just didn't. It's just too many things had to work. Too many miracles had to happen in a row for this thing to do its job, you know? So anyway, this guy was insisting on using this taser shotgun on this guy. And eventually, he did an independent action without anybody knowing and put himself in a position. I believe the suspect was taking a piss or something and had kind of put his hand off the shotgun for a moment. And now I'm going to deploy, without anybody knowing, I'm going to deploy my taser shotgun that I've been obsessed with doing. This was a command officer. And it didn't work. And or worked to some degree. And then the guy turns towards people. And while he's turning, he points his shotgun in the direction. Was he really a threat or not? I'll never know. Sniper fired a shot and basically blew off the guy's arm. He lived, but he lost an arm. And I believe the round continued and went into his abdomen and basically eviscerated him. I mean, a horrific injury on a guy that was essentially on his way to surrendering. There was good conversation. They were, hey, I didn't want to come out and take a piss. Okay, come out and take a piss. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting some sort of cooperation. It seems like this suicidal party, he's not threatening anybody else. He just wants to kill himself. It seems like we're getting to a point where we're going to have a successful conclusion here. And, you know, people forget that SWAT is a life-saving organization. That's what we do. That's our primary job, is to save lives. It's not to shoot suicidal people and do dynamic shit. But this particular person, because they were obsessed with this new piece of gear, and to be clear, I wasn't at this incident. I was listening to it on the radio, but a lot of my coworkers were. So I have good firsthand knowledge on it. This particular person wanted to use this new piece of equipment and didn't care what anybody else said, and they were upset. I'm gonna be the hero, and I'm gonna use this new piece of equipment. And that guy got his arm blown off, and he got eviscerated for the trouble. It's just fucking idiot.
That's such a fuck story on so many levels, on both. Just as a team side of things, for obviously the victim in this case, it's like, because you want to use this fancy taser. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm sure he was immediately off the team.
I had another incident. Moving on, I had another incident where I was actually at this one, and the guy was coming out, and he was suicidal, and he had firearms, and he was coming out with the firearms, and he was holding them in a manner that we could see they weren't loaded. And he was holding them like a rifle like this with no magazine in it, and like turning towards the muzzle would go towards us while he's turning, but his fingers nowhere near the trigger. Just being a dumb fuck and just trying to get a reaction. And certain members of that team were like, "If you point that rifle at me again, I'm going to kill you." And I'm like, "Whoa, dude! Like, relax. You're behind armor. He's obviously drunk. The weapon's obviously not loaded. Let's relax. He's obviously trying to get a reaction out of you. Just chill. Just be quiet."
He's succeeding, by the way.
Yeah, and there's a negotiator there that's talking to him, and now you're ruining the negotiation, any rapport this negotiator has, by you're up in the turret, and now you're calling this audible. Shut up. You know, it was the same thing. I was also in an armored vehicle, just bored, like... It was a long incident. But then, so they got the guy, they breached some windows. He ultimately retreats in his bedroom. I'm like, that's perfect. Now we know exactly where he's at. Now we can deploy gas just in that bedroom, or whatever we want to do. Or we can just leave him there. We can put gas everywhere else and just continue to communicate through that window that we'll breach, you know, or whatever. We know exactly where he's at. We've gained some footholds here. We're good. And one of the command officers, who had a tomahawk,
Oh my god.
His plan was, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to throw the tomahawk at the bedroom door, and I'm going to defeat the bedroom door that he's in with this tomahawk from down the hall. And you're like, Are you fucking high? Like that's
Is this a joke?
What's
Please
wrong?
tell me it's a joke.
No, it really happened, and we're like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm glad you got a new tomahawk. It's a very nice tomahawk, but we're not gonna. One, it's not gonna work. Two, worst case, what happens if he exits the door as you throw it, and you hit him in the chest with the tomahawk, and now the suicidal guy has a tomahawk in his chest? I'm gonna be like, I don't. What the fuck are you doing? Like this is
So
not
this is why you don't like tomahawks, huh?
This is not how the job is done. It's not how the job is done.
That's
it. Ultimately, that guy. He was in a position where they were to run in and tackle him, which wasn't the best plan either. But at least it
didn't involve a tomahawk.
No, but it worked. But our team, we were there to assist with armor. We would not have done that. We would not have ended that in the way it did. We would not have rushed in and tackled the guy when they did. But it was successful. But I think the person who ran in and tackled him, it was a independent choice when he saw an opportunity and took it versus a planned event. We would prefer a planned event, especially when there's no innocence at risk. So, I guess my point is that SWAT teams come in all shapes and sizes and levels of experience and equipment, and you're going to have these fucking yahoos. I mean, it is a thinking person's game. It really is. And a lot of people are attracted to being on a tactical team who aren't always the best thinkers, who aren't always the best decision makers. I think they want the image. They want to be high speed and be cool, and they want to be Navy SEALs and Special Forces. That's not what we do. Mm-hmm. We save lives. It's just that's not why we're here. You're trying to scratch an itch that this occupation is not designed to scratch. We can't use you. We need thinkers and decision makers. I don't need somebody who's going to be fucking tactical. I'm sorry, tactical
people who understand your mission profile.
Correct. And it's
not, dude. You're not breaching a door and, Afghanistan. This is not a war environment. This is we don't want to shoot this person.
Right. And
we want to save them as much as possible. And the only reason we're going to unfortunately have to make the decision to shoot them is if they are trying to hurt us or others.
Oh yeah,
hurt us or
they
others.
force
So
our hand.
They're forcing our hand.
Correct. It's just, and sometimes you expect that from like a SWAT candidate, a SWAT school, young guys trying to get on a team. They think that's what it's about. They think they want that aggression. They're not mature enough yet. I get that. Not going to lie, I had some of that, 16 years ago. Some of that, I had that. But as you learn what it's really about, you mature. But I've seen it's not always the case. I've seen people who've been on teams for a very long time, and I've seen people who are team leaders that, in my opinion, their mindset is completely fucked. Mm-hmm. And teams have cultures too. Not every team has the same culture. There's some teams that are more aggressive. There's some teams that will shoot every dog they see for no reason. I don't know how else to say it. There's other teams that were very hesitant to shoot dogs, and there's teams that are in between. I don't know. It's just, I hate to make reference to dogs because it's kind of a hot button, but I've shot a lot of dogs. I've also not shot a lot of dogs.
Yeah,
I've not shot a lot more than I've shot. So, we go to great lengths to save them. We have catch poles. We try to corral them into a room if we can, if circumstances allow it. Bottom line is, if I'm there to catch a dope dealer in the basement and this dog is growling at me and blocking my path, bad day for that dog. Unless it's a little, ankle biter and I just kick it. But I mean, if it's a big, nasty, mean, freaking pit bull that I'm absolutely not going to walk past without getting bit, sorry. I like dogs. I love dogs. I got dogs. But it's so, even, teams and how they deal with that, and teams and how they deal with use of force. I mean, teams have cultures and cultures vary.
and it's kind of unfortunate too, to a certain extent, when I have those really aggressive teams, because they put everyone else in a bad light. Mm-hmm. So you got the team, like, for example, that just shoots every dog they come across. Like, oh, got this little 6-pound poodle over here, and you got Johnny Special Operations. You just smoked that dog. It's like, does this make you look good?
Yeah, right. Was that a big accomplishment?
And then they'll have the gall to wonder why the community dislikes them.
Yeah, right.
Well,
and we had
and police organizations do have that same thing. They'll have that culture too.
Yeah, we had a nearby team. Geographically, they had a crazy guy that they had to get. He was suicidal. He was armed with, like, he didn't have a firearm, but he was, like, known by the family members to be setting traps and stuff for law enforcement when you came in there and get them. Crazy stuff like spikes and shit. Yeah. And, they came to us and they said, well, how would you handle this? Because they were a relatively new team at the time. This was some years ago. It was several years ago. And we said we wouldn't go in. Why would you go in? We're not going in there. The guy's setting traps for you. That'd be stupid. We're going to call him out to us. Well, they didn't want to hear that. So they went in after.
That's not cool enough.
That's right, exactly. And they were a new team at the time. And then what happened, they get in this freaking Donnybrook with the guy swinging a bat, ends up wounding one of their officers, not seriously, and they end up having to shoot the guy. And we're like, yeah, that's why we wouldn't go in there, because that's you made a bad decision. I think they learned a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
at the expense of, unfortunately, someone's life.
Yeah, wouldn't you have rather listened to us the first time? And I think a lot of teams don't have the humility to go, maybe we should listen to those who know. I'm always open to new ways of doing things and take them into consideration. It's careful consideration. How would you do it? How would you have handled this? Mm-hmm. It's just basic after action shit.
Again, especially like that kind of, like, this guy is, you have reports that this guy is setting traps for you. Mm-hmm. Like, even why would you go in there? Why? And like, just remove the entire other aspect of, like, the whole, the SWAT context. You're going to a structure in which someone has literally laid booby traps for you. Why?
Because we're leading with our ego. Because we're leading with our ego.
Exactly. I was literally going to say that. Yeah. If this is an ego thing, we want to make entry into the structure and prove to ourselves that we can do it, or whatever. Why?
What is our mission?
Yeah.
So anyway, without getting too far into the weeds, that's SWAT teams come in all shapes and sizes, and you just got to kind of. It really disappoints me, as I take pride in how professional my team is, how professional I am with how I conduct myself, and when I see other teams do stupid shit, or I hear accusations of a team doing stupid shit, and as much as I want to discount it and say, no one's that dumb, no one would do that, in the back of my mind I'm like, maybe